and welcome to Politics on the Rocks. I'm your host, Nick. To my right, we have Chris.
Hey there.
Across the table's Bookie.
Good day.
And Cameron.
Hey.
So that was, what song is that? Sticks That Made Thunder by the Steel Drivers. That's actually Chris Stapleton's band, or a band that he's in.
Very good. Special guest this evening, George Dickel, Tennessee Whiskey. Not a bourbon, which is much to my surprise because I thought I bought a bourbon, but something different. Any thoughts on this? You guys drink it all?
Yeah, I like it.
Good.
It definitely, I feel like I could taste right off the bat. It was like, something different.
Oh.
I don't think we've done anything but bourbon so far.
Yeah, bourbon. Rye.
We went from cock to dick, dude. It's kind of wild.
Yeah, that's true. We did do rye whiskeys.
Good point. That's a good point. But yeah, mostly bourbons.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure.
It's good.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, so today we're going to be talking about, we're going to be updating some stuff, little housekeeping on some of the topics we've talked about in previous episodes. There's some other things that we're going to kind of naturally bring up, some stuff with the Milley hearing over the Afghanistan debacle. We're going to talk about, are we talking about more about the council meetings, or are we going to wait until we get some questions back?
We'll talk about just some of the stuff that's happened, but yeah.
Yeah, we put together a questionnaire and we sent it out to all the candidates. So I presume once we get some answers back, we'll do a more thorough episode on that if we get the answers back. We've only gotten 3 replies so far.
Yeah.
What, in a week or even longer? When did you send them out?
And you said one person actually answered the questions, right?
So
yeah, one guy just replied, "Thanks."
It's been like 3.5 days.
Oh, okay, so not too bad. I thought you sent them I don't know. I thought you sent them a while ago.
It feels like a while ago. It's Friday though.
Yeah. All right, so what do you guys want to go for first here?
I don't know. We can just go through a little of the local stuff that's been going on. Just do a quick rundown. So I guess to begin, I don't know why I didn't think to look at it, but I just realized the county commissioners have their own YouTube. So that was fun, watching that latest 4.5 hour video at 1.5 speed. I tried listening to at 1 3/4 speed, but the way they have masks on and they're all old, so it just sounds like the Muppets. The Muppets on crack. Yeah, so looked at a couple other stuff locally. I guess the most topical would just be an update on the school board. They didn't really do much this recent meeting. The only thing of note was they had a quick little discussion about organizing time for the public to speak. So that was kind of interesting, and they definitely weren't trying to hide it. Obviously, the reason was based on their last few board meetings. There's been a ton of people. I think there's 42 people to speak, all on just the masks.
Wow.
And I could only assume, this is not a grounded fact, that most of the time there's probably 2 people speaking at a board meeting.
Yeah.
If that.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
That's a good point.
yeah, so I mean, it was, I don't know, nothing exciting came from that speak or little talk they had. The couple people that we've seemed to appreciate the most on that board were hey, we shouldn't make sure whatever we do isn't silencing people because we're still public servants, even though we're a school board.
Mm-hmm.
So it looked like the way they were going to do it, I'm not sure if they went through anything. They were going to have open discussion, so you can go there and talk about whatever the hell you want. The first 30 minutes, it's a half hour before they normally would start, and they might and then after that, if you want to speak on the action item that's on the agenda, they give you they'll a certain amount of time. So for each action item, they might have 30 or 45 minutes, and then each person will get 3 minutes. Or if there's an abundant amount of people, they'll divide that by how many people they have. That seems like the thing that might have happened.
Life changing.
Yeah. So nothing too crazy from that. I didn't look into it further, mainly because I don't know how I'd find it. because no one really looks at this stuff locally, which is probably why a lot of things happen that nobody knows about. But I think they had to change something in the tiered system they passed. Somebody mentioned something in the beginning of that meeting that the superintendent had to change something last minute because of a decision that was made during the legal system. An update like on the DeSantis mandate. Because I think what they did is they dropped the mandate and they did it through the Department of Health. And I think it was like more firm through the Department of Health, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
Like,
yeah, that makes sense because they were always, even the people who were against the mandates and stuff were, they were, referencing the Department of Health and the Department of Education like pretty heavily because they weren't in line with what the county was doing.
Yeah, so I think within the past 2 weeks, DeSantis either fired or got rid of the last head of Department of Health. He got a new one, and then that new gentleman, whatever you call someone who runs the Department of Health and passes something, pretty much put forward the mandate, but it's through the Department of Health. So all the lawsuits were dropped because that's not a mandate anymore, like an executive order. It's actually passed through the Department of Health.
Oh, okay.
So, so I don't know what changed. I would assume that they had to make their red tier, which is their danger zone tier.
Yeah, did they ever address the tiers and how they were all fucked
the
up?
discrepancy
No,
in the percentages?
no, they didn't. They didn't discuss that. But I guess what they had to change was the last tier. You have to be able to.
Haven't you heard, Chris? Nobody cares about the numbers.
Yeah, I think they might have had to change the opt out to be regardless of medical or not.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I'm not 100% sure because again,
That would be nice.
But I think that's what the update that might have had to happen. So
Interesting.
all that time for nothing.
Yeah, that was always interesting to me. It's like, why, like... You hear that?
Yeah, somebody's fighting out there.
Yeah, it's okay.
That was when they get
If you're going to have the opt-out option, why even do the mandate?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, isn't opting out, like, isn't that, like, people just kind of self-enforcing this?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I guess it looks good, right?
Yeah, to have a long meeting and justify why we pay you $60,000.
60,000.
160.
Superintendent is like, yeah. and
I'm just talking about the.
That's the janitor.
and another thing that they mentioned that I listened to during that meeting was he gets bonuses.
Oh,
The
God.
superintendent gets bonuses.
For what?
Based on what?
I
Commissions?
Number of words uttered.
honestly, it's like
During
if
that.
the board likes him, he gets a bonus or a raise. I forget which one it was. It's like a 2% raise.
Huh.
Wow.
That's
wow.
I don't know.
That seems shady.
Is it the board members that pay him?
Yeah, I think they take it out of their salaries.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
That works.
That's fair then.
Yeah.
We're okay with that.
Good Lord.
Oh man, but that was a school board again. Nothing crazy there. Like I stated, I found out the county commissioners have meetings, and again, that was like a 4-hour fucking video, and nothing crazy goes on in those meetings as you can imagine. And because of that, every now and then when they do have a crazy topic, no one hears about it. I would assume because who the hell's
Because nobody's paying attention.
Yeah, and I think I mentioned that in our text group. It's like, this is how things get passed. Because who the hell is going to sit there every week or every 2 weeks and listen to 4 hours for the 30 to 45 minutes of something that's actually interesting going on?
Right. Who has time?
Yeah. So most of the time during that meeting, they were like having people come up that are already part of committees or groups that they've funded or are funding currently, and they're giving updates on it. I don't know. It was weird. It was just, again, just ridiculous things that... why is that even happening?
Yeah, one of the things you mentioned was like there was there's like a planned development that they were kind of discussing, and that something like basically these people already have everything like planned out, and they have like all the answers to what they're doing, but the county's asking like all the dumbest fucking questions, like what color are the sidewalks, and
Yeah. So it's if anybody's really interested, it's going out near Falcon Trace. So they're putting development in there.
So way south.
Yeah, south and near nobody currently, but as time goes on, that area will soon be.
So next to Falcon Trace.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, all right.
And so they've been trying to. The Habitat for Humanity, I think, owns that land. So
Oh,
they're-
really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I guess they said Habitat. I don't know. I'm assuming it's Habitat for Humanity, and so the developer's trying to buy the land, and all this is hinging on if the county lets them make the houses or not, because it's going to be like a development, so it's going to be gated, and they're just asking ridiculous questions like, well, what about how far away is each house going to be, and are the neighbors going to have noise complaints for each other because of AC units and generators, and it's like what. This guy's trying to sell like almost 200 houses. You don't think he's thought about this?
Are the neighbors going to have noise complaint? Like, yeah, I'll answer that for yes.
It's just like to think that's a, again they passed it, so it's obviously they didn't stop it. But not to say they couldn't have stopped it. And even then, why must they go through that process where they've already done? You guys would know more than me, but like the whatever they have to go through, like the soil, they have to find out traffic mitigation, all that stuff.
Yeah,
they had it already there. Like, we've already have all this stuff. And they're like,
people are probably asking questions that are answered like in the first paragraph of that report.
Exactly, and then they're like,
Yeah.
Are they going to be one story or two stories? Because Falcon Trace is one story, so
literally that's probably on the front page.
yeah. It's just ridiculous, man. And they're like, well, how's traffic going to be? Is it going to get a little too busy over there? I don't know. It was just like, this is what people get paid for to do.
Yeah.
The guy's trying to make money is going to make a development that sucks.
Yeah.
Even if it's not the best development, it's probably better than the dirt that's standing there.
For sure.
For the people who want to buy houses.
Right.
For the booming development we have here with skyrocketing house prices.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe that could help mitigate that if they didn't, stand in people's ways that want to build more houses,
Yep.
Yeah, right. There's a housing shortage, and we're like wasting our time with these remedial questions,
Exactly.
slowing everything up.
And the only other thing in that entire meeting that was noteworthy in a sense was there a dispute going on between 85th, correct? You correct me on that?
85th Street, yeah.
85th Street. And so it's not paved, and it's not a county road. So I'm assuming the people who live on that road own sections of it, so it's a community-owned road. Is that how it goes?
Yeah. Oh, wait. So maybe it is a different road then, because the reason I was thinking 85th is because that one connects basically 66th Avenue, where it meets with Schumann, where it turns into Schumann.
I think you might be right there.
So that road feeds all the traffic from Wabasso Bridge to 95, basically, which is like pretty big because that's basically everyone from the island who's trying to get to 95
goes through there.
That's the place they're going, or anyone who lives in Sebastian going to 95 below a certain, a certain point south.
Mm-hmm.
They use that road to go to 95. So like, yeah, it's like a really high traffic road, but it's like there's no shoulders. The shoulders are like crumbling because they're so narrow, and the pavement's just like collapsing. And
Wait, is it this one right here at 82nd in the notes? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, it's supposed to be 85th.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But that's the one that goes, it curves and then goes to Sebastian River High and all that.
Oh, right.
So yeah, that road like sucks, right? It's like freaking tiny for the amount of traffic that goes through there.
No, for sure.
It's pretty bad. So I think the problem is what you're saying. Like, nobody wants to take the responsibility for it because it's a pretty long road and it's a high traffic road. So as soon as they have to redo it, those numbers compared to what the numbers were when it was first built are going to be like way higher. So they're going to need to widen those lanes, widen the shoulders, and make everything meet Florida DOT or whatever jurisdiction they're using for that road. So, yeah, it's going to cost a lot of money.
Yeah.
To redo it.
And so what I was getting, because obviously this has been going on for a while, and this is just like an update on what they're discussing. So again, from what I understand, or what I understood from that little segment they had, the people who live on that road or own the road pretty much, just for being next to it or living on it, they don't want to fix it. I wasn't sure why, probably due to the cost. And it seemed like another reason is the DOT within the next 5 to 10 years is going to take that road. It's within their like expanding whatever. So once the DOT takes it, they'll pave it and they'll become a county road.
Yeah.
So the guy was trying to make a statement, or make an argument, which I didn't really agree with, is no, we're not going to upkeep it. but you guys should, like the county should.
Yeah.
And they're like, the guy's like, yeah, we'll upkeep it if we take it over.
Yeah.
It's like, no, we don't want that. Pretty much.
Right.
And they're like, well, we're already going to donate you like 30 trucks or whatever I wrote down of millings,
Yeah.
which are the crumbles, right?
Yeah, they basically rip up old asphalt and
Crush it.
and then mix it with a binder or something.
Yeah. So like, we're already donating you this. It's like, we're not going to do anything further. And his like, another thing he said was like, well, the last, county commission said that, they would help us, and obviously it wasn't on paper, so there's nothing binding them. One of the guys is like, he's like, no, we're not going to do anything to help you with it. And then, like, so they just kind of went back and forth, and it was just, I don't know. It's interesting because there's not too many roads around here that aren't, or within town, that are owned by the county or the city.
Yeah.
And
It's kind of the case, like, in most areas.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of roads that are like, owned by private owners. Like, I don't know what extent that road is owned by, like, private people either. If it's just, like, certain sections or what the deal is.
Yeah, and then, he was trying to state, like, there's businesses that connect to that road, and, like, somehow, because the businesses are connected to it, it's like the counties should fix it then. I don't know. It's really weird. Like, I can understand, like, you don't want to fix the road that, eventually the government will eventually take. So why would you put in
Yeah,
tens
that's the
of
thing.
thousands?
Nobody's going to take ownership of, maintaining something that they're not going to have long term, and they're not going to see a return on it.
Yeah.
It's not like an investment or anything.
Right.
So who's going to take, that responsibility for free? That's
Exactly. And then that's
reasonable.
why you get a road that is shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like in
The abandoned
fucking
road.
purgatory right now. Nobody wants it. It's just falling
Or
apart.
it's in limbo.
Yeah.
It's a little orphan road.
It's going to take someone to fucking go headfirst into a family of 5 for someone to take responsibility for fixing that fucking road.
Hopefully drunk.
Oh
Because
man.
we're big fans of drunk driving. Not drunk crashing, though. Very
Yeah.
different thing.
Yeah, those are different things.
They are completely different.
So yeah, that would be bad.
But yeah, that was the only other thing. I don't know. It was, again, you don't really see that too often.
Trying to think what road this is you guys are talking about. 85th.
Yeah, it's like right. You get off the Wabasso Bridge, you go straight.
Yeah, that whole road is 85th?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
all the way to past Sebastian River High, and then it merges onto Sebastian Boulevard.
And so what part of that
Oh,
is private?
okay. So 510. 510. It is. Wait.
Oh yeah, it's 510. That's
Yeah,
right.
it is a county road. Are
Yeah,
you,
but
are
what
you
part
talking
of it-
about from US 1 to the
No,
bridge?
It's just a dirt road somewhere. That
Oh, it's probably off of that road.
probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again.
Yeah, because, 85th is a county road from US 1 all the way to...
Huh.
Right. It must be one of those private roads.
Yeah.
You know what other road is really fucked? I think it's like an avenue, but it's like 76 or some shit. It's the one where the I think the Vero Beach Shooting Club is off of it. It's like back there. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like
where the shooting, like the shooting range?
no, it runs north to south, like
Oh, yeah, you're talking
like
about...
behind 66. It's like 76 or maybe it's 82nd. And that one is like you have to go like 20 down like this fucking long ass road.
Yeah, we used to call it
It's
Ranch
like-
Road when we were younger.
It's bad. I don't go up back there often, but I had to go
It's
back
where
there
that
for work.
super fancy clay shooting place is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't remember what the hell it's called.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'll find
It don't
on
matter.
here.
But yeah, so that was county talk.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is 82nd. You're right, 82nd Ave.
Okay, so it must be that one then. That
Yeah,
one's
you had it
horrible.
right. Yeah, that one is horrible. It goes all the way from 60, and it actually connects to 82nd, the road you guys
Yeah.
are talking about.
Okay.
So it's probably the road then.
Yeah,
Huh.
that's for sure the road you guys are talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still all like orange groves and shit back there, and then Quail has a golf course.
Yeah, I actually have a
Oh.
buddy. I actually have a buddy who flipped his truck into that ditch when he was younger.
Oh jeez.
Dude, I didn't realize how far that goes back.
It connects 510.
Yeah.
Well, it does and it doesn't. The road turns by where your father-in-law lives, around that, or your Emily's uncle.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then it goes to 66 there. But if you go left, it'll actually go all the way to 510.
Yeah. It's crazy out there. I didn't realize.
Yeah.
I had a package out there, and I went all. I was like, "Holy crap!"
Yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't realize how far this was.
I've only ever driven on that road, so
Yeah.
Don't
yeah, I don't.
until someone fixes it.
And then another thing I found, Nick stated we sent out a questionnaire to the candidates for Sebastian and Vero Beach City Council. Vero Beach had a little forum for the candidates. The Indian River Taxpayer Association put it on. I think they do it almost every year or every time there's an election. And
it's the Taxpayer Association.
Yeah.
That makes more sense.
sorry about that.
Because earlier when we were calling it the Tax Association, I was like, wait, what do these guys stand for?
Yeah.
But
Tax the
They
poor.
like taxes?
association.
They don't like... Yeah.
I think that's what they stand for. They like to tax the poor. But they put on a little forum. So they invited all the Vero Beach candidates to come out. All except for 2 arrived. So Ray Neville did not show, which is the incumbent. I guess apparently he's out of town. And then the other guy was...
The Who from Whoville?
Yeah. I'll look up his name real fast so you don't get it wrong.
I don't know if that even made it into the cut last time.
All right,
I think
here's-
it might have fucked up when
here's
we were
the-
talking about that.
Yeah. The Indian River County Taxpayer Association, here's their mission statement. The great mission of the Taxpayers Association of Indian River County is to secure those principles which allow liberty to flourish. Chief among these is limited government. Oh, I like this. The best way to accomplish this mission is to limit government to the efficient delivery of essential government services, which I'd argue is nothing. But this will reduce the tax burden of all citizens. Through member activism, we drive this mission and serve our community through adherence to principles designed to limit the size, scope, and spending profile of government. We build a strong democratic republic. It's actually not a bad mission statement.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now we just got to see if they actually do anything.
Yeah, probably not, but
But it was Ken Daj. He was the second guy that did not show up due to not wanting to do anything inside for COVID reasons.
Ooh, Mr. Dage.
Yeah. Staying away from that old cough.
they don't keep their
Yeah.
page updated, though, because it says the last meeting date was September 15th.
Yeah, which is the one we're talking about right now.
What the... that's right, because we missed a week. That's right.
Yeah.
Well,
But yeah, so that was the meeting, and then so Ken Dage didn't show up. So they had a couple questions. They were your typical ones you'd hear, like how are you different from your other candidates? You know, what do you want to see done at the three corners? The selling the water, was it the sewer and water, and then a couple others like questions you see on the TC Palm. Nothing too crazy.
Yeah.
And
not like, do you want to secede from the union or anything like
correct, yeah. Not like our amazing questionnaire that we sent out.
that? Yeah. Yeah, our questionnaire is going to be pretty... They're going to have to break out the measuring tape for that.
Yeah.
But
Thorough.
yeah. So
Thorough
again,
investigation.
I honestly listening to that, based on what we talked about a couple episodes ago, and like that opinion we had on everybody from there, based on what we could find, it didn't change. Like they said, nothing that really had any substance. You know, Brian Heedy, obviously some crazy shit, and fucking had his long ass beard. It did seem the Taxpayer Association does enjoy Brian Heedy for many reasons, probably the same reasons we do.
Nice.
You know, Taylor Dingle seemed like, you know, for being a young kid and a room full of people eating and looking at you, along with other people who've, you know, been on city council before and stuff. He answered questions pretty well, I feel like.
Nice.
You know.
He was eating or they were eating?
No, it was like a luncheon.
Yeah,
or
it was like a
something.
luncheon thing.
Yeah.
Those are always weird when you like I feel like if you have to talk, like you just like don't eat, you know?
Yeah, no. So they weren't eating. It was
Okay.
everybody bought tickets to watch them.
Oh, so
Just
all
like
the
chewing on like a piece
the
of chicken and
yeah,
like
fucking stuff in their mouth asking you
Got
questions.
a nice juicy T-bone.
Yes.
But yeah. So I mean,
That's
again,
how you know someone's business. If they're fucking chomping on a steak and they're like,
answering questions.
yeah, I mean, that guy, you know,
Yep.
that's like big mob
Yeah.
boss vibes.
Fucking club somebody in the head.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Tony
Again,
Soprano vibes.
nothing crazy came from that. I feel like some questions weren't even fully answered directly by most people, and it was a lot of political answers, like, "Oh, we have to do this," and you know, so it wasn't great. You know, if I didn't have to listen to that again, I would never want to.
Yeah. Not by choice.
But hopefully, some other things like that come out, and we get some better answers.
Yeah.
Nobody recommended taxing the poor.
No,
That was not a recommendation.
I think
darn.
Ken Dage may have wanted to,
Yeah,
but we'll never know because he wasn't there.
Oh, good point. Yeah. Yeah.
he was
for
afraid.
Tax. He
Again-
might be for tax and poor.
Again, Ken, we would know your answer on those questions if you were there.
Yeah, but you weren't.
So now you just make us make shit up.
Yep.
But please fill out our questionnaire.
Yeah, I think I think that some money well spent would be like somebody to make like a highlight reel of the meetings, you know?
Yeah.
Like some county employee just like make a highlight reel of these meetings so I can, not waste my entire fucking day listening to just
That would be nice.
People chewing into a mic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the last really local thing was the county. They used $230,000 for incentives for county employees to get vaccinated.
Yeah, that was interesting.
So I don't know if that broke up into, because I know they were giving bonuses to people who got vaccinated, or like stipends. I think I could be wrong, but they were also giving people vacation time. So if I can,
There's just something creepy about how hard they're pushing this.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah,
It's like, I don't know. It's just creepy to me, man. It's like, when
this is a COVID episode again.
Yeah.
We're just doing low maintenance over
Yeah.
here.
What the fuck, bro? What the fuck is going on?
Yeah, the maintenance guys are fixing the AC right now.
Yeah, we're back.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just weird because, like, all through childhood, you're, part of the DARE program that we have here is like all about resisting to, peer pressure, and now here it is, and
Yeah, now it's like take this drug,
right,
and you're supposed to say yes.
yeah.
It's very confusing.
What the fuck was it? A tiger? The DARE sponsor, the DARE mascot.
I want to say that was like cereal, but you might be right.
I feel like
Yeah, he was like
it's a
like a
lion.
lion. Yeah.
Yeah,
What was his name? Did he have a name?
I was gonna say McGruff the crime dog, but that's
I think
obviously
you're
not
right.
it.
Wasn't McGruff?
Darren the lion.
Darren.
Hey,
that makes
Darren
sense.
taught me to say no to drugs. So
Yep.
I've never listened to him before, but you know what? At 27 years of age, I think I might start.
But yeah, so I don't know. It's just weird, and I think all that money comes from the federal government, which doesn't make anything any better or worse because it's still tax money.
Yeah,
So
yeah. It's who knows where the fuck that came from, right?
yeah. Oh, one last thing which I did not write in those notes. Just want to throw it out there. They had to vote for something for the hospital, for both hospitals, I believe, Sebastian and the Cleveland Clinic, with some type of Medicare refund or Medicare rebate system. It was to give hospitals more money for their Medicare patients, I believe. And that, too, was like a federal program. So it's like a stimulus for the hospitals, pretty much. But for whatever, like somehow, like the county was able to vote on it to allow it to go to their hospitals because they would send them money, and then the federal would match that, I believe. I don't know. It just came to my mind real fast. Again, just something that's ridiculous.
On the radar.
Yeah,
Coercion.
and they voted for it, so
Yeah, I mean,
hospitals were
that's-
happy about
It's
that.
quote unquote free money, right?
Yeah, and like
So they're never gonna like.
there was actually
refuse
like a small, short segment of that discussion, which was pretty okay, where there's a guy that keep asking the question like, "Where's this money come from?" Like, are the taxpayers in Indian River County going to see a raise?
Right.
And like the main guy was, he was asking those questions over and over, and everybody was answering. Was like, "Oh no, of course not." Well, it's going to be, backed by the federal government, and then it's, we can show right here it's not going to come back as a tax. And then another guy in the commission was the only guy who voted no for it. I don't remember his name. He's like, "Well, this is government money, so it comes from tax money,
Yeah.
and it's going to come back to us eventually."
Sure.
And I was like, "Cool, that's cool, that's good."
Yeah, it's just like
There's one of them out of 6 or whatever.
yeah,
It showed some sort of competency.
Yeah.
yeah. It's I don't know. It will come back somehow. It doesn't mean people in Indian River County are gonna pay the brunt of it, but somebody's gonna pay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who knows?
It's like what we always talk about anytime you see these new proposals. It's never, okay, how can we fit this into our already inflated budget? It's always straight to, okay, well, we'll introduce a new tax for it.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Or yeah.
Not let's like cut our budget from other places to pay for this. It's like, oh, we'll just tax more people.
Yeah.
Or like anything, right? So the hospital's banking on the fact that the federal government's going to give them money. More than likely, it's going to come back. But what if it doesn't?
Right.
Well, now they're expecting, an extra 50% of more money to come in. Well, then now taxpayers do get the brunt of it because now if they go to the hospital, they have to pay more money for procedures and for sitting in a hospital room.
Yeah, and the other thing is in some hospitals, the federal government is basically convincing these hospitals to keep like entire floors open for possible COVID patients, and they're doing that by giving them money to, pay for the money that they're losing, and then plus some to make it worth it for them. And so that affects people who come in and need treatments for things that aren't related to COVID. Now there's a whole floor unavailable because they're just keeping it open, whether people are using it or not. So
yeah, I don't know. But again, this is fucking local politics, man. If it's not a mask mandate, it's pretty fucking boring.
Yeah, that's what I was, when you were kind of talking about the meetings and how boring they are, in my head I was like, yeah, well, we live in a relatively small area.
Yeah, and they're boring.
Very small town
but
feel,
still,
it's like not very exciting.
Over a year, all those boring meetings add up to like a lot of like, shit that happens,
Yeah, of course.
That's what sucks. It's just so, like, you just want to gouge your eyes out listening to this. Not even your ears, just your eyes, because you want to feel pain worse than ears. And it sucks because that, again, you don't want to listen to it. You don't want to figure what's going on. But over a year's worth of time, easily, all those small things they vote on, all the little things that happen, add up to vastly changing the county itself and expanding government within localities. And so, again, I just wish there was like an easier way to see what's going on, like a database that shows you what they voted on and how it went, and you can look back over time and see how that vote was affected or affected what that vote meant affected. I don't know.
Yeah, well, that's a good. This maybe this is a good point to segue into the minimum wage implementation,
Yeah.
but
that's what I thought too.
yeah, we were talking, and Chris brought up a good point. He was saying how, because we were just talking about the Florida minimum wage, how it jumped to whatever it is, $10.50 or $10, and then incrementally over the next 5 years, each year would be $1 increase to end up at the $15 minimum wage.
26.
Right.
Yeah, so Chris was like, if it's this important, why is it an incremental thing? Why not all at once? And of course, the most obvious probably argument from their side is, we want to give the business owners and companies time to, figure out budgeting and like slowly increase it. And he was saying he thinks it's more nefarious where now, because of how they're doing it, where it's like spread out over 5 years, you can't point to one specific date and go, look, this is when we implemented this $15 an hour raise, and this is also when
unemployment skyrocketed.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And I even I would take it further to like they're not even like seeing it that way. Like that's not how they plan to use it, but that's how they're going to.
Oh, for sure.
End up using it. Like
Yeah, I mean, if that's your plan, that's a really good idea. Because like you said,
it just muddles the.
You could use a correlation graph where you see, well, in 2022 we raised it to 15 from 7, and then within the next 2 years we saw increases on these prices. We saw unemployment
drop. Yeah,
Right, now you have
everything you would expect to happen.
You have over 6 years now of like, oh, well, was it this? I mean, so much else has also happened, so how can you pinpoint it to that one specific thing?
Which is always the argument with that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
and it's true. I mean, there's like an infinite amount of factors that affect the economy. It could be anything, but whenever you implement something like an on-off switch, it's a lot more obvious the effects it's going to have than if you implement it gradually.
Oh yeah,
And,
for sure.
Yeah.
And I mean, one of the most, I think one of the fairest arguments in regard to raising minimum wages is, if this is so beneficial, why stop at 15?
Yeah. Why
not make the minimum
30?
wage $30 an hour, $45 an hour, $60 an hour? Like, what about this 15 number is the number that's like...
Like if you're listening to this right now and you really think a minimum wage law is good, like just ask yourself that. Why can't you answer that question? Like, where is the maximum minimum wage?
when do you see diminishing returns in your eyes?
Right.
Right.
Like, where is it?
Mm-hmm.
And how did you arrive at that number?
Well, when you start talking about like minimum wage, if you're saying $15 an hour, you're saying that everybody that is employed is able to produce a $15 an hour minimum wage.
Yeah,
so they're going to
to
produce $15 an hour worth of work.
Yeah,
Which-
or like, well, probably more like $15.01 at least, because then if they're just producing exactly 15, then it's still not to give all fucking actually or whatever.
Yeah.
Actually.
But like they have to produce more than that because it's the company has to.
So they have to make money.
To make a profit.
Sure.
So it's
good point.
it's even worse than that.
Right. No, you're making a good point for sure. Yeah, and that's I think that's the biggest argument. Obviously from Austrian economics point of view is that there's going to be people who can't produce that kind of. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like there's going to be people who are more like a $5 or a $6 or a $7, whatever. And those people are the people who are no longer going to have a
useful
position
in the marketplace.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's basically a tax the poor plan, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like you're taking the people who have the least amount of skills, who are like the worst off, like just they can't, like they're like you said, they're not going to produce $15 of stuff. So then you're just taking their job away completely.
Exactly.
It's like
exactly.
How's that helping them?
Exactly. Where in a free market, you would hire all of them.
Mm.
You'd hire,
right. They'd all be working.
They'd all be working.
Yeah.
But now there's not a position for them. But this is such a like an emotional, I don't know, almost like a moral issue for people. Where it's like, people need to earn acceptable wages and things like that. And but it's
I'll let you finish.
No, I'm just saying,
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think it is an emotional or moral issue. It's an
shouldn't.
economic issue.
Yeah.
And like, there's going to be people who need to make $5 an hour when they first start and get into the workforce and work their way up and make themselves, more profitable.
A skilled worker.
Exactly.
And earn that $15 an hour wage.
Otherwise, they're not. Now there's a huge hurdle to get into the workforce or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like, this is another classic example, and I feel like a broken record because we bring this up so much, but this is another classic example of a government created solution for a government created problem. Right? Everyone, the biggest argument obviously for increasing the minimum wage is nobody can afford to live off of the current minimum wage, which was what, $8, so whatever it was.
7, yeah.
And it's the real question is, why aren't people able to live off of that? Not that minimum wage jobs were ever a valid career or job to be able to live off of, but why can't people live off of whatever the minimum wage is? And it's not because people aren't getting paid enough. It's because everything costs so damn much. Well, why does it cost so damn much? Government intervention in pretty much all aspects of our life.
Right.
Yeah, I think I posted this graph not long ago that was like, it showed products that were deflating in cost and products that were inflating in cost. And it was really interesting to see all the products deflating in cost. It was all like technology, TVs, computers, just things that the government doesn't have their hands in at all. For the most part.
And it's also those things that don't have a monopoly and have a huge amount of competition.
There's no cartel.
Like TVs. There's an enormous amount of competition
Right.
in TVs.
Yeah,
that's why you can go find
China's just fucking...
Because there's no regulations on TVs.
Yeah,
really.
so you can go and buy a 50-inch TV for $200, where before it was...
like 2,000.
Yeah, exactly.
And what's cool about that is now everybody can afford a 55-inch TV.
Yeah.
And if you want the higher definition, nicer one, you're going to pay more for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And for people who don't who want to cut off all trade with China or something, just think about that. That's trading with China is a big reason why we're able to have so much shit. So much cheap shit.
Right.
But so then the other half of that graph was stuff housing, cars, textbooks, school, all the stuff that government has heavy regulations on.
Yeah.
And
Medicine.
it just kind of makes a lot of sense.
Medicine.
Yeah, medicine.
Yeah.
Healthcare in general.
Mm-hmm.
So it was pretty interesting to see that it just split right,
Yeah.
government controlled items, and it wasn't exactly, but pretty close.
Another thing that I found interesting about this minimum wage thing is that there's a huge amount of people who are like for this, right? I mean, it's like it passed with like 2,000 or 2 million more votes than the people who said no or whatever. So there's quite a bit of people who believe in this $15 minimum wage thing. And also, I mean, I read some stats that say there's almost 90% of the United States believes that the minimum wage should be higher without like a number attached to it. They just think it should be higher. But like what's interesting is like I think only like 1% like of America lives on minimum wage. So it's not like a lot of people living on like one minimum wage.
That is
so
true,
it's like it's interesting that like people are so like
For
attached
something
to
that
the idea,
right.
where like barely anybody's. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. I find that kind of interesting. Don't you?
Yeah.
Like, all right, like what? Like, there's a lot of people for it, but there's not really like a,
How about instead of increasing minimum wage, we lower the federal government budget
There you go.
incrementally, of course, to give them time to figure it out.
To give them time to hide their money
Yeah.
and sell their 50 houses they have. No, that's interesting that you bring up, Cameron, is the fact that 90% of people supposedly are for an increase in minimum wage, but only 1% live off it. And I think it comes down to what we see a lot in politics now is I want to be the good guy. I want to vote for something that's going to make people's lives supposedly better, right?
Yeah, it's kind of been like the history of politics, it feels like. There's like one group that's like, the quote-unquote conservatives, and they're trying to keep things more or less the same. And then the other group is trying to like give people free shit or like give them some sort of, advancement to their life that they're gonna have to pay for ultimately.
Yeah.
And like, they're trying to be the good guy, like you said.
And it's so common because you see it in multiple areas of life, and especially in politics. Now it's just minimum wage, but like these people who are voting more than likely make more than minimum wage, probably multiple times more than minimum wage, right? I can't think of a job I've had where I've had minimum wage more than a month. If anything, right? Since I've been working. And I don't know, it's one of these things where you're trying to change something that's going to affect pretty much the entire economy of Florida now because you're trying to help somebody who probably doesn't even want your help. Like, it's, I don't know, it's crazy.
Or won't be at that job long enough to need it.
Yeah.
Like you were just saying,
And it's crazy because then you see places like Amazon, McDonald's, Walmart, and we can get back to the collusion and monopolies, who once they see like the tide changing, they'll be all for minimum wage increases, right? Amazon was fucking like 3 years ago up their warehouse workers to $15 an hour. They cut out all the benefits for their managers to have stock and ownage and all that. But now all their employees have $15 minimum wage because they know things are going to happen, and they can pay for all that.
Well, not only that, that's just another artificial barrier for them because they can afford that kind of shit.
Correct, exactly.
And it
That's what I was
keeps
trying to get to.
competition out of the market. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So like all these big companies are like, okay, this is what's going on.
Yeah, they're all for it.
Let's
they all
push
love
it
the minimum wage.
Because now the mom and pop stores, if they're trying to open up a mom and pop Walmart, they can't pay 3 employees $15 an hour to work.
No.
Yeah, that's such a good point that you guys brought up. Is that people don't? They say, okay, Amazon pays everybody $15 an hour. Meanwhile, like they have a ton of money and they can do that, and they can accept like that kind of range or whatever. Where a lot of these other places can't do that.
Right. You're talking about they cut the executives' benefits. It's like, so now instead of making $20 million a year, they're making $19,500,000.
No, I was talking about the managers.
Yeah.
So like what happens was
The guys who run like maybe 20
like store managers?
no, like I don't know how they in the warehouse.
distribution center.
Yeah, floor managers and different sections.
So the guys that are making $300,000 a year.
No.
Probably not.
No,
They're
the
probably
guys-
making like between 100 and 200.
Yeah, or even the guys are making
They're
like
maybe supply chain
like
guys or
100,000
something.
people, or 80 to 100,000, but they would get stock options.
Okay. I see
And
what
like
you're saying.
those
Right.
stock options obviously are fucking worth a lot of
way
money.
better. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I
now
think-
that's canceled because
Yeah.
everybody gets $15 an hour.
Yeah.
So I mean, somebody got screwed. And not, So
again, it's just one of those things where it's like, Amazon doesn't care if their managers have stock
Right,
options or not.
but the executives didn't take any cuts, right?
Oh, I'm sure not.
Yeah.
Isn't Bezos trying to go to the fucking moon?
Yeah.
Doesn't look like he got a budget
Moon
cut.
boy.
Which again, I could give two shits about. But then
Yeah.
he's gonna, his company's gonna be all for governmental intervention within the minimum
Yeah,
wage.
exactly. That would be fine if he did that with his own money and his company wasn't like heavily subsidized by the government.
Mm-hmm.
Something that this reminds me of. Oh man, I just asked all over the place.
I did the same thing.
Yeah, I saw you a minute ago. No, something that this reminds me of is like when, like, a lot of these like big car companies like take on like new like eco-friendly like regulation.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, "What? Like, it doesn't make sense." It's like, no, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah,
Because
because they can afford to.
because they can
up that
afford it, and it
technology.
keeps anybody from entering into that field
Yeah.
by accepting. Oh, well, you got to be in this range or whatever.
Yeah.
And so that's
it's all
why
like
a lot of
state
people
of the art technology that really only like Ford, GMC, and those
Exactly.
companies can afford.
Like if
to
me and you start
implement.
a car company, that's a massive barrier to entry for us.
Yeah.
It's like we got to figure out how to do this now. We got to do this is a lot of things that people don't see that are happening behind closed doors.
Right. Yeah, like everyone wants to think that, Toyota made the Prius because they're altruistic and they care about the
Dank. Sorry, you guys know that South Park episode?
No.
Everybody's driving a Prius, and then people will just be like, "Hey, man, nice Prius," and you'd be like, "Dang!" And then you like sniff his own fart.
Fucking South Park.
Oh, but yeah, sorry, yeah. So how
Not to
was
interrupt you.
how it was explained to me, by a friend who is an engineer for a car manufacturer. These car manufacturers, they have, at least in the American market, they have an emission standard that, it depends on how many cars you manufacture or plan to sell in the country. Based on all your cars, you have like a cap of like basically like a mile per gallon cap. So if you have 15 cars, they, I guess, take an average and say, okay, out of the 15 cars you guys manufacture or plan on sell in the American market, you have, between all 15 cars, you have to stay under this mile per gallon like cap. So that's why they make, or I guess you'd have to be above it in this sense. That's why companies make these eco-friendly cars. It's so they can also make
More cars.
the other car that sucks with gas mileage. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like for example, I had that Evo, and I was talking to the one of the guys there, and I was kind of explaining. He kind of explained the same thing, and then I asked my buddy, and he's like, "Yeah, that's exactly how it works." So you think these companies make these eco-friendly cars because they're altruistic and they care about the fuck's the word I'm looking for?
Environment.
The environment. It's like, no, it's just so they can build really, like performance cars that have shitty gas mileage.
Yeah.
Which they probably sell more of those than they do the...
Yeah, and lately we've been seeing, like, every year, right, we see these photos of, like, all these unsold cars just, like, sitting in these fucking parking lots. Like, thousands of cars, just brand new cars that aren't getting bought.
Yeah.
And I wonder if, like, that has something to do with these regulations, that creating incentives for them to create cars that nobody's even going to buy,
Mm-hmm. Well, I think this was based on models. I know I said if you're selling 15 cars, I meant models, like, you know what I mean?
Oh, okay, yeah.
So if you're selling, like, whatever, Toyota sells however many cars they have to stay above a certain mile per gallon cap or whatever it is.
Right.
So they make the Prius that gets, like, 700,000 miles to the gallon.
Yeah. I wonder how
free to
many
do.
cars that, like, when we see those pictures of all those cars, I wonder, like, in the grand scheme of things, how many cars that really is, like, as a
Yeah.
percentage of how many cars they actually sell, like,
Right.
how many they don't sell.
Mm-hmm.
Because it could, for all I know, it could be, like, a really small percentage.
Yeah.
It looks like a lot of cars, though.
I actually just seen a picture today. You were talking about warehouses and lots full of cars. Apparently, we're like, I know we never really got out of this shortage, but apparently the microchip shortage is like hit again.
Oh, nice.
And I seen this picture. It had to have been like 200-acre parking lot just full of brand new trucks that, well, I guess all vehicles that they couldn't, like, they're not done because they don't have ECUs in them because they don't have microchips.
Damn.
Fucking
Wild.
China.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we need to bring some of those essential component manufacturing kind of back here.
And
Not that I don't think they ever were here, but
yeah, and it's probably be a lot easier if there weren't so many regulations and
Yeah, well, that's another thing
Red
that
tape.
the minimum wage affects.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Is like
I mean,
manufacturing jobs where you're doing like one task repeatedly all day, which is not really a fun job, but it's not really a like particularly skilled job either. So
yeah, it's
if
a lot.
you're forcing companies to pay $15 an hour, obviously they're not gonna be able to produce
right for
that
a guy
stuff here.
to plug a cable in.
Yeah, it's a lot easier
Right.
to pay a Cambodian kid 15 cents an hour than some fucking Karen in Minnesota $15 an
Yeah.
hour.
Yeah, the only extra thing you gotta install is the nets around the outside of
Yeah.
the factory so they don't jump off. Or...
Dark hour.
Hey man, that's a pretty good healthcare.
Free healthcare nets.
No, so another thing that I think is worth mentioning with when you start talking about minimum wage is so like contracts with like union contracts with companies a lot of times are set based on like the minimum wage and like a percentage over the minimum wage. So that's another thing that like people don't consider when you start talking about raising the minimum wage. Now, say so and so is a part of some contract or a part of some union that has a contract with a company, and he always has to make so much over
Oh, right, a
the minimum
percentage
wage.
over, right.
So like when you know what I'm saying, when you implement a $15 minimum wage,
Yeah,
so and so is now making
25 or whatever.
25
it
or
is.
50 or whatever, and the guy above him has to make so much over the next guy, and the next guy, and the next guy.
That's
So
a
a lot
good
of
point.
these, a lot of these union contracts, man, these guys are pushing for obviously for
Increase.
this thing, and so so the point I'm trying to make is a lot of people only want to bang up like restaurant workers and things like that when they start talking about the minimum wage, but that's not necessarily true because it affects a lot of the companies that
Union
have
guys.
these union contracts and have agreed to these contracts because now this guy who makes a shit ton of money anyways is now just making a shit ton more money
Yeah.
because he has this contract that's tied to the minimum wage. So that's something that you have to consider too. Which is
That's I mean, that's huge because
Yeah, it's
like you just
massive.
said, you think it only affects the people who are making minimum wage or
no.
under the proposed minimum wage. No, it's affecting a lot more people. And now these companies that, I say you have two employees, one guy who is already making 15 an hour and another guy you just started that has no skill in whatever industry you're in. Now you're forced to give this new guy who just started a year ago, or not even a year ago, let's just say he started a couple months ago, you're forced to give him a $15 an hour raise. Now the guy who's been with you for however long, you can't afford to give him a raise now.
Right. That's another good point.
Yeah, so I don't know.
Also-
what point I was
A lot of people
technically-
get fucked over.
yeah.
It's not going to be.
Yeah,
good.
I mean, it affects everything, right? Like Nick just said.
Or either that, or it's going to be more of like the unseen, where the new guy that you're talking about that started a couple months ago, he might not even ever get hired.
That's-
Well, yeah, that
that's
also,
the point.
that also, right? Because if I'm a business, if I own a company and I've got however many employees and I'm paying all of them, whatever I'm paying them doesn't matter, but necessarily about minimum wage, and now they implement this minimum wage. I'm forced if I want to maintain my profit margins, which nobody goes into business to lose money or break even. They want to make money.
They just do it for the good of the people.
Yeah, okay.
That's the only reason.
Right.
Okay, go ahead.
That was like Seiki saying it'd be ridiculous to expect people to raise. What did she say?
Oh,
It'd
yeah.
be ridiculous to expect companies to raise their prices.
due to
Yeah.
inflation or whatever
Okay.
it was.
Right. Mm-hmm.
She's a complete moron.
She
honestly.
doesn't know her dick from her ass.
Well, she was
So
socialist, so
yeah. So now me as a business owner, I'm forced to either increase the cost of my goods or services, or I have to get rid of people, which no employer wants to do that. No employer wants to do either of those unless it's justified, right? So now I have to get rid of people, which just increases the workload on the guys I'm keeping. And, I'm still paying them the same, like, for the skilled guys. I'm just increasing their workload and I'm paying them the same, just to break even.
Oh, there's not many options. They all suck.
Yeah, exactly. They all suck.
Yeah.
Where if there's no minimum wage and I have a remedial job where I need you to literally put these, I don't know, I'm making up a scenario. I need you to put the item in the box and close the box.
Yeah.
Remedial task. I'm not paying you $15 an hour for that.
Right. Yeah. No,
We're gonna build machines to do it.
Yeah, no, that's
and
that's
then have
another
a guy
good point.
who's paid, $70,000-$80,000 a year to fix them.
Yeah, to make sure the machine just keeps on running. No, Chris brought up that point just a second ago about the fact that the worst case scenario that this thing does is it eliminates jobs for people who need them, right? It gets rid of the lower entry jobs. And I mean that's the worst case scenario because these people are who voted for this thing thinking that it was going to help the minimum wage worker, maybe the more just more poverty
And now you just
part of
cost them their
society.
job.
And now you just took their job away
Mm-hmm.
because like you said, man, people don't go into business not to make money, bro. These guys are paying attention to their bottom line, especially when it starts to affect them. And they're watching it, man. And if it affects them, they're gonna make changes. They're gonna make changes.
Yeah,
it's somewhere. And if it means eliminating jobs and making a machine or paying the guy above him a couple of dollars more to do that job as well, whatever it means, they're gonna do it.
Mm-hmm. It's like I don't know if it's just me because I'm in engineering, but I always see those ads now for. Specifically, like I guess it's aimed towards fast food, but it's like an automatic French fry, like the machine, like the basket. It's like a basket flipper. It drops the fries into the oil and picks it up and dumps it. Same thing with the burger. It's like an automatic burger flipper. Everyone's like so afraid of automation, but like you said earlier, 90% of the people are in favor of increasing minimum wage. So it's like. Wait, you got to pick your battle here because
what is it? You're biting the hand that feeds you.
Yeah, I mean, if you own a McDonald's, right, and you have two guys that run the fryer, and you pay them $8 an hour, however much that is a year. If I can just buy a $40,000-$50,000 robot that'll work as long as it works, right?
Right.
I mean, that'll pay itself off in 3-4 years.
Oh, for sure.
Right? What, $8,000 or $8 or let's say $10 an hour. What is that? $12,000 a year times 2, $24,000. So in 2 years you paid that machine off.
Yeah. And that's even to say like those people are even getting paid $8. They're probably getting paid a little more.
But I did the math.
I bet
wrong,
too the machine would leave the ice cream machine working all night.
Yeah.
Hey, if that happens, fucking hike that minimum wage up, boy. No. But yeah, I mean, just to talk a little bit about because when it comes to minimum wage too. When a lot of people are talking about, they always see the business owner as the evil person.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think that's just like a terrible way to look at it. Even if the person is a piece of shit, like Cameron said and like you guys have stated, no one goes into opening a business to lose money. Because what the fuck is the point then? That's why a free market, even the shitty market we have here, still works to a point. Because you can open a business and hopefully, 100 times your money over time, right? So you put in $50,000, and then over time you've made X amount more as a business owner, and you've brought your family into the riches. That's somewhat of the American dream. And people look at business owners as like, why do they get so much more money, and why do they pay their employees so little? Well, it's like, bitch. They're fucking putting their lives on the line. Like, their life, their money, their estate is all into this business.
Like, making money is, like, directly tied to risk in a lot of ways.
When it comes to a business owner.
Yeah, and even, like, if you look at, like, the hierarchy within a company, like, the people who make the most money have the most amount of responsibility, and they have the most amount of liability. Mm-hmm. And that's what they're getting paid for, is taking the liability, taking the responsibility. Not, they also have skills and stuff, but a big portion of it is just like their ass is on the line.
Yeah. And it's like one of those things too, where like a business owner, when I say business owner, you can apply it to any business, but I'm mostly speaking about, local businesses and mom and pops. If you're an employee of one of those places and you get fired or you quit, you can find another job, especially right now, obviously. But if that business owner loses their fucking job, that's how many years of their life, how many hundreds of thousands of dollars, maybe millions of dollars that they've just lost, that they've spent all this time in. Like you said, all of that risk is on them, right? They risk everything to have that job, to have that business, for their family, for themselves. And to think that they don't deserve a majority of that cut is fucking ridiculous. And I think people who think that, and tie that to the minimum wage, who think the minimum wage should be increased, it's just crazy, man. Like the fact, like when I remember last year, was it last year when Florida approved the minimum wage? Yeah, increase. I was so surprised. It was like,
me too.
We were so in favor of Trump, but we passed the minimum wage increase.
Yeah,
like that's how fucked
and
we
I
are.
talked to so many people who were like, I know it's not good for the economy, but I did it because how are these people? These people can't live on.
They're
and I'm
just
like,
straight propagandized.
what
That's the problem.
Yeah, I'm like,
again,
what
it's
the fuck?
it's like you're gonna ruin everybody because you think it's gonna help someone,
Yeah,
but you don't even know who it's gonna help.
And that
Right.
I wanted to bring up one other thing, going back to what Nick was talking about earlier about people being afraid of automation. I always see the argument like, automation's gonna eliminate a bunch of jobs. And it's like, well, there's actually unlimited job. Like, there's no like rule saying that the jobs that exist right now are the only jobs, right? Like once people get freed up, they can go do other things.
Right.
It's not like they're fucking like just stuck there with their thumb up their ass. Like, oh, the only job that I wanted to do was flip burgers, and now this machine
that's a good
took
point.
the job.
Right.
Whoa, Andrew Yang would differ with you.
Yeah.
All right.
So it's like saying this. It's like saying that the 18-wheeler was a bad invention because you could have paid 100 people to move all the stuff that this one guy is moving in this truck. So we'd rather 100 people walk it across the country so that they could get paid more than one person load it in a truck and drive it across the country. That's a fucking stupid argument.
Oh, no, for sure.
So it's like there's any people scared of advancement and automation and things like that. Like it's going to sort itself out. People are going to find things to do.
Well,
it's not.
You have to look at it as like it's transforming. Like,
Yeah.
like no longer will that job be available, but there'll be a job in tech or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There'll still be a job. It's just going to be a different job,
And
which means you have to change.
Yeah.
You have to learn a new skill. Like you can't just like rely on like flipping burgers.
It's like when the cotton gin was invented.
Exactly.
They put the I can't remember what the name of the people who used to like spin the cotton was, but it was like a pretty like skilled job, and they all got put out of work, and then so a bunch of people were like against the cotton gin. They wanted to end it, just fucking destroy this machine. It doesn't need to exist anymore.
Yeah, I think
And
Andrew Yang was
obviously
part of that.
we learned about it in history class. Like it had a pretty big fucking impact on the world economy and like people being able to afford clothes. Like that's a pretty big deal. Like people used to only own like 2 sets of clothes, and now we have like fucking closets full of clothes we don't even need because
There's a business that gets free clothes to resell.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's pretty fucking like huge invention in human history. But people, including Eleanor Roosevelt, said that it should be done away with, and it wasn't
Fucking
good.
cuck.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think raising the minimum wage and whether people see it or not, it really, I think at the root of it all, takes away personal responsibility. Because I'd argue with no minimum wage, I mean, nothing is more competitive in a market than competing, right? I mean, that's what it is. If you are a business owner and you are not giving people competitive wages, you're just not going to hire people. And on the inverse, if you're someone who's looking for employment and you don't have skills, you're not competitive in the marketplace. So having no minimum wage, I think, pushes everybody involved to be more competitive in all aspects of the market. So I don't know. It's just like you were saying. It's ridiculous. I don't understand how anybody can reason through this logic and somehow come to the conclusion that increasing the minimum wage is what we need to do to, invoke prosperity in the market and, employment.
Yeah, I would say that if like people are interested, if anybody likes to read books out there,
which you're listening to this podcast, you probably don't read books.
Yeah, you probably haven't read a book in a while. But a couple of things, I think The Seen and the Unseen by Frederick Bastiat is a pretty good just like explanation of kind of the stuff we're talking about, where you do one thing and it will have a visible positive impact on a certain group of people, but if you ignore the negative impact that is caused by things that don't end up happening because of the change that you made, like we were talking about the guy who never gets the chance to have a job because the wage went up, things like that aren't seen, they're never visible because they never come about in the first place.
Yeah.
So that is a really good, I think it's like a pamphlet. It's not even that long. That kind of illustrates that. And then the book, Economics in One Lesson by Henry Hazlitt kind of expands the Bastiat idea into like a lot of good real world examples of that.
That was the first book you ever recommended to me.
Yeah, it's
when we first
awesome.
met.
It's only like 100
I
something
still haven't
pages.
read it, but it was the first one.
It's only like 100 something pages, and it's for free online. If you type in Economics in One Lesson Henry Hazlitt PDF on Google, it's on the Mises website for free.
You know what? We'll drop that link in our bio on Instagram. How about that?
Oh yeah, we'll do that.
We'll leave it there
put
for
it in
a
the
week.
link tree.
Can we do that?
We'll put it in the link tree.
Probably.
Oh, there you go. The link tree. I keep forgetting
Permanently.
we have that.
Put it in the tree.
Permanently.
There you go. Put it in the tree.
Put it in the tree.
Put it in the tree.
Just a few more things, because I'm particularly interested in this topic because I think it's really going to change things. One of the things that they found about when they've increased the minimum wage before is because a lot of people argue that doesn't really have that much of an effect of like, jobs being available and how it affects, because there's like we mentioned before, there's so many things happening that it's hard to make a correlation. But something that that they did notice is that an economist, am I saying that right? Economist, excuse me. Yeah, who like studied job postings, found that like the job postings actually changed. So like the people like in restaurants and different postings for jobs like wanted some level of experience.
Yeah.
They wanted more for.
And that's kind of like the running joke nowadays,
Yeah.
right? Is like, oh, freaking, we want like a recent college grad with 10 years of experience. Like,
Exactly.
Keep increasing the minimum wage. That's what you're going to get.
So that just goes to the point that we've already made 1,000 times here, is that like jobs are disappearing. I mean, there'll still be a job available, but not for the person who's just getting into the workforce.
Yeah, because
which
in
is
their eyes,
garbage.
they're like, oh, if I'm paying you $15 an hour, you better
Yeah.
like be able to come in and start working. Like,
Yeah,
I'm not going to waste my time.
You need to be able to balance a tray with all the glasses.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I couldn't do that if I fucking trained for
Yeah.
10 years.
I did it for like 5 minutes until I dumped hot coffee on somebody, and then I'm like,
And they
I'm
took the tray away from you.
back in the kitchen. You know?
Yeah, like clean the dishes.
Yeah. And one more thing. And Bookie brought this up about how like the business owner is always the one that's scrutinized for being like this, like, kind of asshole figure who just like wants money, doesn't care about his employees or whatever, which obviously is not necessarily true. Is the fact, like, and I see this a lot, is that like people have this mentality that like, this is my job, and like I'm owed something, and like nothing drives me more insane than hearing somebody like with that attitude. And it's like, no. Okay. This is not your job. Like somebody like is allowing you to do this and they're paying you for it. Mm-hmm. Like this isn't your job. Like he's providing you the option to do this.
Right.
And they have this sort of like ownership of like something that's not necessarily even there.
Yeah, like you have no stake in this.
Exactly.
Like whether you're here or not is like insignificant.
Yeah.
It's whether you're doing your job or not that
Exactly.
matters, and whether you're providing, like you said, value.
Yeah.
Above what your minimum wage is.
Exactly. And that was my point. And I just, like, when I hear people say stuff like that, I'm like, you're the kind of person that doesn't add value, you know?
Yeah.
You're the kind of person we should drag in the streets and execute.
You're the kind
Too
of
far?
person
Too far?
that, bitches about
maybe.
minimum wage and then, like, clocks out 15 minutes early and
Right.
hopes no one notices.
And then calls out, like, twice a week.
Yeah, exactly. I had a dentist appointment. 2 weeks later. Oh, I have another dentist appointment.
Freaking minimum wage, man. It's just, it sucks. It sucks it's happening. Who knows? Because, I don't know. That on top of the inflation that's currently going on, it's going to be a doozy.
It's going to be a doozer for
You
sure.
just gotta be.
We'll expect to pay a
There's a lot
lot
of
more for everything.
shit going on right now.
It's a shitstorm.
Shitstorms are brewing. That whole cargo shipment delays that we're seeing right now.
Yeah, I saw you guys post about
So
that.
I've seen, like, it's been kind of weird because I've seen one post, like, reposted constantly. It's like the same post. And it's like the picture of the cargo ships all offshore. And, yeah, I don't know. I haven't seen too much about it in the mainstream media. They're not talking about it at all.
So I actually know, and you know, you could take this with a grain of salt. This is a friend of mine who does.
Sorry.
He does like heavy machinery repair, like a lot of hydraulics, and like he works on like big cats. And what is going on over there with your fucking booms today?
This is what happens when I set up the table before
You
everybody
set
gets
this up?
AC.
What's going on? It's coming loose.
He's over there jingling his jangle.
Loosey-goosey over
Jingling the jangle.
Oh my god! I'm like, our
here.
listeners
Righty
are
tighty.
so
Righty
pleased.
tighty, lefty loosey.
Should we put on some like waiting room music?
The little elevator music.
Yeah,
Please hold.
like a. Oh god!
Holy
all right. We're gonna
have to pause it.
edit some of this out.
Oh yeah. This thing sucks.
We'll edit this part out.
It's good for another
Little note there.
30 minutes.
We good?
Yeah, we're good.
All right.
We good.
So yeah, like I was saying before, our little technical difficulties. I have a buddy who works on like heavy machinery, and he does like all kinds of stuff. But he spent some time in the commercial shipping industry working on these ships, and he learned a thing or two about a thing or two. The post that you're referencing, Chris, it's a picture of cargo ships, in holding patterns outside of the country, and it says manufactured crisis. This is a map of the cargo ships currently incoming and in holding pattern offshore. Your country is under attack from the inside. So he wrote me, he said, this is misleading. That's only a general picture of commercial ships, not specifically cargo. And not all of those in the picture are going into port. See all the ones along Mexico and the directions of the ship? Those are ones in transit moving to ports, not sitting outside of ports. It's typical to at least see 3 or more ships out in what's called anchorage, waiting to be accepted to traverse the channel to get into port due to narrow shipping lanes. I can't 100% confirm, but what I can say is knowledge of how those live maps work. Those are registered ships. You typically don't filter them based on cargo or what they hold. A third is probably fuel barges / ships, as well as roll on, roll out, roll off, which basically means like delivering cars and whatnot. He said people typically know what ship is coming into port by the name and carried tagged in that maritime program. This pic was basically that the picture is misleading because it's not all cargo ships. A lot of them are still in transit, moving around.
I figured it was because that's why when I posted it, I was like, I have no clue what any of this is. Just fucking, seems like it could be important information. But it's just like a picture of a fucking live map. Like, There's like no context. But also the guy who posted it, I mean, I like that guy. He's really, he's been really awesome. But yeah, Ian Smith Fitness, he's like a gym guy who stood up to the lockdowns and stuff and has made a name for himself. But yeah, I mean, I'm just like, I'm not going to take my news from the
right.
the
But
gym
to
guy.
snowball of what you said, just yesterday or 2 days ago, I saw a post that basically went a little more in depth, and it's not necessarily that there's something necessarily nefarious going on where they're being told they can't enter port. Mm-hmm. It's that these ports simply don't have enough employees to unload and to unload these cargo ships.
That's believable.
Well,
yeah,
good thing
it
that
is.
minimum wage is going up.
Well, yeah, I and then in the article it said some of these ships are in anchorage for up to 4 weeks, just waiting outside of port. And then I even seen a picture. That same kid, he sent me a picture of or a video of the Thunderbirds. Is that the Air Force's?
Yeah, I think that's like a
It was like a little just thing they were doing off the coast
Or
of
is that the
California.
Blue Angels?
No, that's Navy.
Oh, right,
Yeah.
right.
And they were doing like a little formation flying, and you could see like all these ships scattered outside of just outside of the ports and stuff, like just anchored up waiting.
Jeez.
Apparently, there's supposed to be like mass shortages all through the holidays. So
Yeah.
it should be interesting.
Very convenient. Yeah,
I mean, I believe it.
they better have yams. I'm gonna be fucking pissed.
I mean, I went to Sam's today, and they had no mushrooms. There
What's
was
the difference between a yam and a
pre-sliced.
sweet potato? Do we know? You two should know. No,
Fuck, I know.
Yams have a cooler name.
Cooking shit.
What do you mean? It's the same thing.
Are they?
I think they're very similar.
I think they're the same thing.
I feel like
they're
a yam.
100% the same
I
thing.
feel like a yam is a sweet potato and a carrot like mixed together.
Fucking.
I'm pretty sure it's the
a
same
carrot. Did you say a carrot?
But
yeah,
there's definitely shortages.
look at that
I mean,
thing.
You go
They
to
look like a carrot mixed with a sweet potato.
Oh. In the United States, the term yam and sweet potatoes are used interchangeably, but they are completely different vegetables.
thing. Oh shit.
Yams are starchy and have a rough brown exterior. Oh fuck! Why do they do that?
That sounds like a sweet potato.
No.
Watch this 30-second ad to learn more.
Dry, starchy flesh, dark bark-like skin is a yam. Sweet potato, moist flesh, variation color, slick like appearance. A true yam is a starchy edible fruit of the Diosauria genus. And is
All right, it's a different
generally-
genius then.
Yeah.
That's
Sweet
is that
potatoes
the only
look a lot
difference?
See, that's a
Smooth.
yam. That's not what you see when you think yam.
Yams are orangey. They're
Yeah,
not
no,
like that.
apparently not though.
It probably happens, and since they said that it's interchangeable, they probably just get fucking
Yeah.
sweet potatoes and call them yams during the holidays.
Yeah, that's probably exactly what.
Or
it
maybe
is.
they're just fucking doused in brown sugar and shit, and so they like
But
look orange.
yeah,
Rub
man.
it
I mean,
over
yeah, it's covered me. in
shortages
brown
are
sugar.
definitely there. I went to Sam's Club today, and they had like a pallet left of whole milk. They had no pre-sliced mushrooms at all. I mean, this is a fucking a Monday?
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, slice your own mushroom.
yeah. What the fuck? I live in America. I'm not gonna slice my
Goddamn
fucking
pre-sliced
mushrooms.
fucking mushrooms. Let's
What
go.
am I? Some Cambodian kid picking my mushrooms from the ground next? God damn.
Yeah.
But
Next thing you know, we're gonna be out there in the cow pastures next to Sebastian River High School, just picking the
mushrooms. But yeah, I mean, it's crazy that this is happening. I can't remember. Obviously, if I was younger, I didn't give two shits. My parents bought the groceries and items, but my adult life, that we have had really major shortages, and like Nick was saying, this is probably all due to the labor shortage.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's not enough people to take the cargo off the ships, and there's not enough people to escort the cargo to the warehouses, and there's not enough people to take the.
This is evidence that capitalism is failing.
Yeah, I mean, I think we should get the National Guard, and they should go to the ports. They should be truck drivers,
I need the
and they should be nurses.
and they should be picking yams.
Yeah, and that's
and sucking my cock.
yeah.
That too.
Yeah,
They can do
there's a
everything.
shortage of
apparently.
prostitutes. We need National Guard prostitutes.
Yeah, we should write DeSantis a letter. Like, there's a shortage of prostitutes within Florida.
We need you to activate the National Guard.
Yeah. He's like, well, that's
stat.
illegal in Florida. I'm like, I don't care.
Please halt all stimulus.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what about that, huh?
Does California still have a stimulus thing going on? They got it, right?
I could care less. I hope California burns in hell.
Yeah.
It-
I'm with you.
Seems like it's going that way.
I was just gonna say, I would argue that it already is.
Yeah.
No, I literally just want to see pictures of everybody burning over there.
Let's get your uncle back on. See what he thinks
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah.
I think he's in Texas now, right?
Not yet.
Yeah. Well, once
But
he's
yes.
gone.
By the end of October, he will be there.
All right. So November 1st.
Actually, by mid-October, he will be there.
Flames everywhere over there. No, but
I don't really know anyone in California, so I think I'm okay with that.
exactly.
And if I do know you in California,
Sucks.
What
I'm
the-
sorry, get the fuck out of there.
Yeah, I have some family over there, but they
Yeah.
better get the fuck out. But
Bookie's like relationship with his family is like he talks to him like 3 times like in
Through
like
the
10
podcast.
years.
but
When he wishes for their death.
when that New York,
He's
right?
alive.
I brought up the National Guard because that's what happened in New York.
Oh yeah,
They fired all those
Kathy
nurses.
Hagel, the lady that looks like she eats children.
Yeah, it's funny. I didn't even know who that woman was until whatever last episode or 2
She's
episodes
worse
ago.
than anything Cuomo could have possibly
I know,
done.
and then I seen that was her first big thing in like the mainstream media, and I was like, oh wow, she is as horrible as I presumed she would
Dude,
be.
that one clip creeped me the fuck out where she's like, God brought the vaccine and that's why we need
was
to...
that the one where she was wearing the vaxxed
yeah.
chain?
Yeah. She was like, and then
didn't see
she
that?
pointed to her she has a
Yeah, he
vax
sent it to
chain.
me.
Yeah,
I was
Dude.
having a good day.
Oh my god.
And then he sent me that thing.
that was terrible.
I
so
almost crashed.
creepy, man.
Is that going to be in your next church
Yeah.
service?
Oh man.
Yeah.
you gonna be wearing?
God
the
brought
vaxxed?
us the vaccine.
Yeah, it was that was
He's
rough
gonna
to
get
watch.
it done right on stage.
It's like, no, Big Pharma brought you the vaccine, and they're making their ass out on it.
Yeah. Yes, they were.
And then all the medications that came out recently. We got Pfizer came out with a medication that apparently the thing that it does that helps with the vaccine or helps with the virus is the same exact thing that ivermectin does.
Yeah.
That
It's
helps
an anti-Proteus.
right. Yes,
which I guess
it
is
blocks
a-
some sort of protein.
I think it's
Yeah,
Protease,
it's-
but yeah.
No, Proteus. It's
It's pronounced Protease?
yeah, it's an enzyme that breaks up like proteins and
It's like a protein inhibitor.
something else. Yeah, it's something else. But apparently that's like exactly the same exact like mode of transmission or
And
not
then-
transmission, but the like what ivermectin's like.
That's
That's
the part
its
of it that-
antiviral property.
Yeah.
And now and if you look up anything about this Pfizer drug, it's like you automatically get taken to the fact checkers that says, "Oh no, ivermectin." No, or I think the headline of the article is no, Pfizer's new antiviral is not ivermectin.
Like,
And
yeah,
it's
no
like,
shit. It's not ivermectin.
Right.
It just does the same, or the property that helps with the virus is the same as.
what
the
do we
property
always say?
from-
Factual but not truthful.
Yeah, exactly. And then we're wondering why Merck was dissing their own drug that is now open source and anybody can produce, and so they can't make any money off of it. Well, they just came out with a new drug to treat coronavirus. It's specific to coronavirus.
Yeah,
and
and
it's been in the works for a while. We knew about this.
Yeah, we brought that up in our
Yeah, we
ivermectin
did.
episode.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
I actually watched I was actually doing some research on ivermectin, and I put together like a little notes thing so I can just randomly argue with everybody I come in contact with.
Story of my life.
These are like things I do for
fucking,
fun.
your
Yeah.
your like cousin, like your little cousin, right? Is that what they are?
Oh,
Your second cousins?
Yeah, I just didn't know what the fuck you were talking
Sorry,
about.
but like they're like talking about like what they did at school. You're like, you fucking heard about ivermectin?
Yeah.
Listen up.
Next, I'll be over at family dinner. I just gotta write up this
Yeah.
ivermectin argument real quick.
Yeah, I can't wait for Christmas.
Your teacher asks you to put a mask on, you tell her to.
Dude, sometimes when I'm like with people, I just tell them I'm taking ivermectin every day. Just for fun,
Just
just
to
to see
fuck
how they
with 'em.
react, and then when if they say anything, I'm like, let me get my fucking notes.
Look at my doctor's notes here.
Hold
Yeah.
up.
No, but I think everybody's been talking about it. It's just crazy that we have government not that you could argue that most hospital employees were government employees to an extent, but we literally have like the army coming in, the National Guard taking jobs from
Yeah.
people.
Yeah, there's nothing weird about that. Just
Man,
supernatural.
it's just like I feel like
military
by
run
the end of this,
hospitals.
they're just gonna make it totally normal for you to see a guy in camo fatigues with a select fire rifle just walking through like any part of your neighborhood. Like they're gonna be like bagging the groceries. They're gonna be like fucking driving your kids to school on the school bus. Gonna be directing traffic. And then next thing you know, every person in your community is just like a National Guard soldier with an automatic rifle.
And you know what else is going to become extremely normal if that becomes normal? naked men with tomahawks and flashbangs,
Yes.
not attacking manatees,
No, but
attacking the National Guard.
but with manatee hide armor.
Yes.
Ooh.
Manatee skin caps.
Oh man,
It's like, what level is that armor?
Fucking-
Got like 6 inches of manatee blubber surrounding my entire body. I can
shit.
stop
you like
anything.
instead of like having the manatee like head on like as your helmet, you have it around your crotch
Ooh, there you go.
like a skeleton.
I think I'm gonna get that as a tattoo. You know how they have like the chicks with like the headdresses?
Yeah, with, like,
normally.
the
Yeah,
fox,
they'll have
like-
like a fox or
Yeah.
like something like that. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna have a chick with a manatee head on her.
Dude, you know, like a manatee is such a blah animal.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It literally
it's just like a fold. Like his face looks like just
Yeah.
layers of folds.
Yeah, it's just a fat like
It,
cow.
it looks like a 3-year-old, like just drew circles on a piece of paper.
pretty much.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you made that up. No, like, no, that's a manatee. Like, yeah, okay. He's not lying. He's not
Fuck,
lying.
dude.
Came
But,
up with an animal that doesn't have a
I
single
love saying
straight
the
line.
most. Yeah, yeah, right. There's no straight lines to it. It's the least aerodynamic animal.
Like a
I
big
love
turd.
saying this like the most off the wall shit around your dad. It's so funny.
Yeah, I could tell.
He can't take me serious anymore.
No,
I'm serious about most things, but he can't take me serious.
he's like, Nick.
Yeah,
Yeah,
You should bring up tax support next time. Like
Tax
you
support.
actually support it.
yeah, I do. I don't. What do you mean?
yeah.
tax support.
They use most of our resources, so why don't they pay for most of them? I don't get it. You know, I don't get it. It doesn't make sense to me.
Ugh.
We
No, I
don't
did-
accept EBT unless you're paying taxes.
Yeah. I mean, do we want to? We don't want to talk about ivermectin, do we?
No,
Not
just
really.
know. I think like a lot of that.
Are you sure? I got a lot of notes.
I think a lot of that news about the drugs being in the works was out like 3, 4, even 6 months ago, and you can't say that's why the media wasn't talking about ivermectin, but it's pretty fucking convenient
Yeah.
that like
And that they ran a fucking smear campaign on it
Yeah.
for like 3 months.
yeah, and it was like and
Yeah.
there's people I forget who I heard it from. It was obviously from a podcast, maybe it was Brett Weinstein, who talked about it, but like people knew that these companies, pharmaceutical companies, were making pretty much ivermectin with some other proprietary stuff in it to call it something else, and to release it as a COVID pill, and
Yeah.
now it's coming out.
Yeah, every other business owner that doesn't pay like their employees fair minimum wages are the devil. But like for some reason, we love like these pharmaceutical companies, and they can't do anything wrong.
Yeah.
Like, okay, all right, I'm confused.
It's like everyone I knew who like a year ago was like against the police state and against large corporations is now in favor of the police beating the fuck out of you until you inject a product from large corporations.
Yeah.
Like it's
those
just
are also
really fucking fun.
Those are also the same people who think of universal health care, but don't want you to go to the hospital if you don't have the vaccine.
Yeah, and they've already shown their cards. They showed them too early. You know how we've been talking about, once the government takes control of healthcare, they get to choose who receives and who doesn't receive healthcare. And they've already shown their cards with that. People are calling for hospitals to stop taking people who are unvaccinated.
So
It's like, what do you think is going
what-
to happen when government has full control of healthcare and it's politicized?
Yeah. Did I see something recently that one hospital said they're not delivering babies unless you're vaccinated?
Well,
You guys remember seeing that?
I remember like that might coming into something, but who knows if that was true or not.
Yeah.
That Walmart's selling a lot of
I
K
mean-
pools.
If anything, they're doing us a service, right? There's way too many kids out there.
Chris will come to your house and deliver your baby if you need help.
Yeah. Trust me, I'm an engineer. I got this.
It's like, let's see
Like-
how this works.
What's the strength of
X equals
concrete?
negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a.
Nice, dude.
It's like, he's coming! Push!
I'm like, oh shit, I don't know what I'm doing.
Fucking building a bridge underneath her uterus.
I was like, this is the imaginary route that
I'm
they
like-
never told me what it means.
I'm like, this bridge will definitely support the weight of this baby.
Negative square root. What's happening?
Oh god.
Let's factor of safety on this thing.
Oh jeez.
Yeah, no, you'd be fucked.
I bet you I could deliver a baby. How hard can it be? Like, for real?
I mean, honestly, you got like what a pretty good chance because people were born before there's doctors.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
I don't want to deliver any baby.
I know. I'm not saying I want to. I'm just saying if I had to, I bet I could.
Some guy that I know
I could deliver my own baby.
Not gonna name any names, but he told me that, and I don't know why he told me this, but
He's talking about me right now.
Delivered 2 of his kids.
Oh, jeez.
And I was like, just like put my AirPods in after that. But but if that guy can deliver 2 kids, you know,
Imagine living, being a man and delivering 2 of your kids and just having it over them for the rest of their life. Like, I fucking reached inside your mother's vagina, pulled your head out, and brought you into this world. I will fucking kill you. Like, there's a lot more power to it than saying, like, I watched, like, some doctor, like, shit you out, you know?
Yeah.
I feel like I'm the kind of guy that would just like faint. You know, I would just die.
Cameron's the kind of guy.
I'm the kind of guy who can't take looking inside somebody or that.
Well, I'm sure it's pretty hard to go back to like having a romantic relationship with your wife after seeing that.
No, I don't want to.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm
okay where I'm
No,
at.
I would want to see other people. That's great. Just not my wife.
Saw plenty of videos in health class.
Oh no.
Yeah, they showed that to us in like high school
Really?
health class.
I sit out
Fucked
for
up.
religious reasons.
Yeah, I should have done
Dude,
that.
I don't even think.
Seems like child abuse. I don't know.
I think
it
our
kind of is.
high school's health class was
it's
like
power.
some PE teacher like
Oh yeah, same with
making
mine.
jokes.
Yeah, same
Like I don't
with
think they talk about condoms, sex,
mine.
diseases.
Talk about what?
Just, I think she joked around all the time.
No, you said the first thing you
Sex,
said?
diseases.
No, the one before that.
Condoms.
Yeah, what?
Did she show you how to
Oh,
put
What
them
is
on?
that? Yeah, what are those?
It's a myth, actually.
Oh, like the clit.
Exactly like the
Okay,
clit,
right.
and exactly like UBI, Universal Basic Income. That's a myth.
I thought you were talking about an STD.
Oh,
Yeah, I was like, I don't know about that one. Haven't tested positive for that one yet, so I'm sure my next checkup will be fun.
But did you guys watch that Milley hearing?
Yeah, I watched the whole like morning hearing because there's a morning and an afternoon.
God, government sucks so much.
I didn't watch like the last 2 hours, but I watched like 4.5 hours. Or something
That
like
is crazy, man. People,
I mean,
so
it
many
was-
hours.
Yeah, it was pretty uninformative. All of the, pertinent questions that we really wanted to know the answers to, they were like, I'm not at liberty to discuss that in an open hearing, but I'll look forward to answering those questions in the closed hearing.
Classic.
It's constant, that's what they said. That or one of the things, and one of the senators actually is Senator Wicker. He's, I think, from Mississippi. He said that he was just like incredibly frustrated with how much the Department of Defense employees would refer them to the State Department employees when they were being interviewed, and then the State Department employees, when they're being interviewed, they refer them to the Department of Defense. So they're not answering any of the questions; they're referring them to each other and saying, "Oh no, they're the ones that take care of that." And then
That's
when
like when
they
you're on
have
the.
them,
That's like when you're on the phone. You keep getting transferred to the
Yeah.
same department over and over.
yeah, it's exactly that.
Like, let me send you to the claims. You get to the claims. You're like, let me send you to account specialist.
That's fucking. That's.
Like, I was just with them.
Why don't you just send a missile to my house to kill me and end it all?
yeah,
What? So
Might as well.
I'm assuming the ending. We're not.
Well, the ironic thing about that is the Department of Defense does do that, just not in America
yeah.
yet.
Well,
Just a value.
to American citizens, but not in America.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Based on some like write-ups that I read after the fact, I don't think I really missed a lot in the afternoon.
Yeah.
To be quite honest,
So we're not going to hang him. He's
no.
not a traitor.
We know that. So Lloyd
He's a
Austin,
traitor, for
yeah,
sure.
well, so he was like really adamant about. He was saying that. So he brought up the meetings. There's one on October 30th of last year, one on January 8th of this year. And they were intended to de-escalate tensions between U.S. and China because apparently China thought we were invading. They got wind that we were invading, and
What?
so he gave him a call. He's like, "Hey, we're not invading." Just so you
My
know.
ass.
And then he brought up civilian control of the military, how it's a bedrock principle in the American system, and things like that. So I don't know. Who knows if he really believes that? It was nice to hear him actually, express that though, and know that he is aware that that's the the way the system is structured. But
Whether he respects that or not is completely
yeah, that's
different.
still up for debate. But yeah, so he kind of like up front he brought it up immediately in his like opening statements, General Milley, and Yeah.
He just looks like somebody you want to kick right in the face.
And then nobody proceeded to ask him like anything about it, pretty much.
Yeah, I was listening to the most recent Joe Rogan, and he had Mike Baker on. He's that ex-CIA.
Oh, yeah.
He's had him on a few times, right?
Yeah, I can't. The guy is like hot and cold with me.
Yeah, he's had some episodes that I was like really interested, and then other ones where I was just like,
yeah, I mean, he's definitely got
give
his
us
dick
the scoop, man.
still in the American vagina, where
Right.
he like can't really say anything bad about it for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And you know,
He can't piss her off too much.
yeah, you know, he still is all, you know, drone striking kids.
He was
is fine.
probably fucking children on Epstein's island, so he can't.
Yeah, but they were talking about
Hey, live update. Taylor Dingle just sent us a message on
Yeah, you see
the
that?
Instagram.
nice. We'll get to Taylor Dingle in a second, but
He says he's going to answer these questions. Good.
He said we should meet up at a cigar bar in Vero.
Bullshit.
Yeah, no, seriously.
We're not reading the same message.
I was gonna
I'm
say
opening it right now.
He said there's many great cigar bars in Vero that we should formally meet at.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Oh, yeah,
My bad.
sweet.
I didn't. Oh, that's
Yeah.
tell him
Yeah,
tell him
that would be
I
sick.
already only have one kidney, so I can't.
Is
fill
this
my other
something
one.
that we would like?
cool. No, we should do this.
Oh, guys, I can't. If that's his girlfriend, I've definitely had sex. No, I'm just kidding. Imagine though, that'd be funny.
This is obviously getting
Hey,
cut out.
Dingle, we're just kidding, Dingle.
First question.
We're just having
Dangling.
fun. We're just telling jokes.
Yeah,
No, I'm
but,
sure you'd understand.
Oh yeah, check it out. He smokes cigars.
nice.
Yeah, nice
But
guy.
yeah, Mike Baker, they were talking about this in his most recent podcast, and you know he was talking how he was disappointed in that whole hearing. It was completely partisan. Like everybody was just asking questions to get like their 15 seconds of like Twitter time,
Okay.
so like they could say like, oh, well, I asked him this question because like no one asked him any pertinent questions that like had anything to do with what was going on,
Yeah.
and like no one like grilled them at all,
No, it was so
which is classic.
in fact, fucking like
Unless you're Facebook.
you know, the establishment Democrats like Warren and Gillibrand, who I know well because I'm originally from New York. They basically like took the opportunity to kind of like take the heat off of Biden. So Gillibrand said that she thanks Biden for taking steps to finally end the endless war. Like, bitch, what was your stance on that a year and a half ago?
We go back and she
Like, let's
voted.
go- let's
She
go
voted
back.
every time to
Yeah.
keep the war going.
Definitely. Like, let's go back and see what you said when fucking Trump suggested leaving.
Yeah.
What the fuck did you say then? I doubt it was in the same light. And so yeah, and then she one of the things she said that I actually liked, but you know, obviously it's just in her case it's just because it gives her more power. She said that it's important that we restore the responsibility for declaring war to Congress. So yeah, no, that's true. You know, all these wars are illegal. None of them were declared by Congress.
Right.
I think one of them was after the fact, the Iraq War, I think. But the rest of them are all illegal. So, or maybe it was Afghanistan that was declared.
Yeah, but since when does the federal government care about legality of anything? I mean,
No,
everything
I mean,
they've
that's-
done over the last 2 years has not been legal
Right,
by
the
any
Constitution
stretch
is
of the definition.
failed document, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, like anytime somebody refers to the Constitution, I'm like, yo, it's just a fucking piece of paper that means nothing unless people are ready to stand for it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And you can
then-
listen to our last episode about executive orders and
And then
into that a
Senator
little
Warren kind of did the same thing. She kind of gave Biden a pass, and she said that
she's still
this
alive. huh?
failure, yeah, she is.
She's on the reserve.
She said that this failure was written on the wall years ago, and that the withdrawal was long overdue. Again, Warren, what was your opinion on that just a year ago?
Yeah.
I doubt it was the same.
Right.
It's like the classic like, oh, we're out now. Yeah, we completely agree we should be out. Like,
Every
fuck,
time,
why were
dude.
we there so long? But like during the whole thing, they're like, well, we don't, we didn't tell him he could go there, but he's there, so we're not gonna stop him.
Yeah.
It's like a bunch of cucks, man. Like it's
Yeah.
just
absolute cowards.
That's gonna fall on
I know.
you. Take a pause.
Oh man, she's a little tilty.
Yeah, take a pause real quick. 'Cause that's gonna fall on you.
Tilty wilty.
So here's that thing at walking. Oh, that's pretty cool. I wonder if Ken Deitch was here.
Oh, probably. Oh, yeah, he probably was at that
Well,
one.
it's weird though. It's
He was
like
hammered, fucking drunk, like the whole.
like it's inside,